As it is written in Isaiah the prophet, "Look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way."
Welcome to BT Messages of Hope. At the time of this recording, we're in the midst of Easter week 2020. We're walking through a story from John chapter 11 that involves Jesus and three siblings named Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus, who has just died. Today's talk is called Confession and Hope. We will look at our next section of John 11. In the opening scene of this story, we find that Lazarus, a good friend of Jesus, is dying. His sisters Mary and Martha send word to Jesus, who is far away. Jesus gets the word, but he delays. He waits to come, and Lazarus dies. It is confusing, but in that confusing behavior of Jesus, there is still hope. Today we pick up the story in verse 17, where Jesus arrives 4 days late. And this translation is from Dale Bruner. If you're looking for a good commentary on John, Bruner is the place to go, in my opinion. So this is John 11, verse 17. So when Jesus arrived, he found Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now Bethany was rather near Jerusalem, being only some 15 stadia, or about 2 miles distant. Many of the Judeans had come to comfort Martha and Mary on the death of their brother. Then when Martha heard that Jesus is coming, she went to meet him. But Mary stayed seated in the house. Then Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask God, God will give it to you." Jesus says to her, "Your brother is going to rise to life again." Martha says to him, "I know he'll rise to life again at the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, I am that resurrection and that life. The person believing into me, even when that person dies, will live again. That is to say, every single individual who is alive and believing into me will never, ever die an eternal death. Do you believe this, Martha? She says to him, "Yes, Lord, I have come to believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world." Today's scene, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. A common belief at that time was that the soul lingered for 3 days after death, but then departed on the 4th day. Those first 3 days, one is mostly dead. Mostly dead is partially alive. But day 4 really means no hope. Dead. Others have come on time to bring comfort. Jesus has not. Martha hears that Jesus is finally coming and she goes to meet him. When she encounters Jesus, she brings complaint and confession right to Jesus. "Lord, if you had been here, this wouldn't have happened." Martha brings real honesty. She does not bring simple platitudes. Instead, she says, "Jesus, I'm upset you didn't show up earlier." This is legitimate faith. Complaint can be legitimate faith. Read through the Psalms. Part of the traditional prayers of God's people involve prayers that ask, "Where are you, God?" And prayers of how long, God, until you show up. Martha comes to Jesus with that same psalm-like complaint. And from the same mouth, in the same conversation, comes words of confidence and confession. Martha says, "But even now, I know you are the one who can go to God and make things happen." Jesus pushes her, says, "Your brother will rise again." She confesses again, "Yes, I believe in the resurrection day." Some Jews in her day believed in a resurrection day in the future. Others did not. Martha had a strong Jewish faith. She said, "Yes, I believe he'll rise on the last day." And then Jesus declares to her, "I am." Just an allusion to the great I am, Yahweh, in the Old Testament. Jesus is the one, the Word, the eternal creator of life. Right next to Martha, in the midst of her grief-filled life, Jesus speaks, I am the resurrection, and I am that life. The one who believes in me won't die the eternal death." Here's something Jesus excels at, something that gives me such hope. Jesus pulls that future distant hope and brings it near into present pain. Jesus is living hope. He pulls future hope right into the present. You don't just have to wait for the resurrection one day, though we certainly do. But Martha, I'm the resurrection and the life, and I'm with you right now. Do you believe this, Martha? Martha confesses, yes, I believe. You are the one, the Messiah, the anointed one, the Son of God. Martha faces crisis. She encounters a painful death. And this time for her could become a crisis of faith. Maybe that's something you're facing and wrestling with today. Maybe you wonder where Jesus is, and maybe you're bringing your complaints. Martha and all of us have a decision to make when we face trials. Okay, I don't understand this. I don't like this. So what do I do? That's a real question. What do you do when you aren't seeing Jesus working and you aren't seeing the hope in the present? Do I abandon my faith and hope, or do I double down and continue to confess this? Martha doubles down. Jesus, Jesus, I don't understand your ways, but you know the way to life. Jesus, I confess you even now. Okay, you are resurrection. You are the life. You are the one. I'm coming along for the ride, even though it's hard and I don't understand. I'm taking the leap of faith with my sorrow and with my complaint, and I'll still confess you. How are you doing today? Do you believe this? Marthas, do you believe this? I pray that you know there's freedom to complain to Jesus. Many faithful God followers lament throughout the Old Testament. Martha laments. Jesus laments and questions the night before he dies. Martha goes through her questions, though, and comes out on the side of a deeper faith and confession. My hope and prayer is that we might do that too. Bring your complaints and continue to confess your hope in Jesus as the true resurrection and the life. God bless you today, and God bless you this Easter week. Keep going, keep hoping, keep remembering there is one who has loved you and has given himself for you, and that one is the resurrection and the life, Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior.